afternoon, everybody, or good morning, good evening, whenever you're watching this video. Thank you for stopping by. I had to rewind that. Every time I start the recording, the video just skips ahead for some odd reason. But welcome to SeaSeatv. I hope you can hear me. This microphone is tripping. But I'm going to put it up so that way I'm not completely loud. But today, we have 10 creepiest things found in basements, posted by Matthew Santoro. I watch him a lot. I swear I probably just messed up his name, but it's all good. This ain't a classroom. We ain't worried about getting things grammatically correct. Let's watch it.
Your basement is probably not somewhere that you would choose to venture to go to late at night. Horror movies and popular culture has made it a place to be feared, and while fictional stories may creep us out, as it turns out there are real documented cases of people finding very unsettling things in their basement.
I will move. I swear to God, I will move.
Here are the 10 creepiest things found in basements. Number 10 is a shark tank.
I mean, it's not that bad.
On August 23rd, 2017, officers from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation were executing a search of a home in the city of LaGrangeville. Reports had come in that there may be illegal wildlife being harbored on the premises. However, what the officers actually uncovered was nothing that they were expecting. In the basement of the house was an above-ground pool, within which 7 live sandbar sharks were swimming. With no oceans nearby, it was an alarming sight and something that nobody in the unit had ever seen. In addition to the living sharks, there were also 2 leopard sharks and a hammerhead shark.
Damn.
But those 3 were dead and floating in the pool.
Gross.
In fact, several animals were found dead and rotting, floating in the pool, a scene that the officers had never seen before.
Yeah.
Number 9 is a hidden chapel.
No, that's creepy.
After moving into their new Victorian home in Shropshire, a county in Western England in 2007, the Farla family noticed a large metal vent in the floor of what they thought was the lowest level in the structure. They ignored it. That was until Good Friday of that year. After a few drinks to build up the nerve, they pulled the grate up and discovered
weird for not really being creeped out by this?
Down to a previously unknown cellar. Crawling down through the passageway, the Farlas found a room that resembled a chapel. Apparently, the chamber was used as a secret Catholic church in the 1700s, a time when many Catholics were being hunted down. This creepy chapel came
that's not creepy. They were hiding.
with pews and a wooden cross, which had rotted and clearly fallen off the wall. But perhaps most disturbingly, ever since discovering this hidden chapel, the Farlas have claimed that they were haunted ever since.
Never mind.
Number 8 is a live torpedo. In January of 2010, Linda and Wally DeForest had just moved into their new home in Indiana when Linda discovered something bizarre in the house's basement. While clearing some cobwebs out of the basement, Linda came across a heavy metal object that resembled a large lawn dart. Showing it off to her son, who was on leave from active duty in the army, they quickly realized that they were holding a military-grade explosive. The region's bomb squad was called in and happened to dispose of it, leaving the couple shaken that they'd actually handled a potentially deadly weapon so nonchalantly. Experts believe that the explosive was a mortar or other anti-tank round that had been actually kept as a souvenir from either the Korean or Vietnam War. This family was extremely lucky that their first day in their home wasn't also their last. Number 7 is the Doll's Last Supper.
I hate dolls.
Located in the heart of downtown Phoenix, Arizona, Hanny's is a famous restaurant that's not only known for its late-night cuisine, but its incredibly off-putting sub-level. Originally opened as Hanny's department store, this building has a long history, including a number of fires, and many believe the structure is haunted. Perhaps playing on that feeling, someone has created a truly unsettling scene in the basement,
oh my God, that doll.
which you can see by sneaking past some employees and exploring it yourself. In addition to the dusty boxes and an apparently oddly dressed mannequin, you can still spot a number of random dolls, all posed in what appears to be a recreation of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. If you're brave enough, you can visit it yourself if you're okay with being surrounded by a room full of dolls. Number 6 is Jeremy. On August 5th, 2013, 21-year-old Mark Hartman and 9 other students moved into an off-campus house for Ohio State University in the city of Columbus. Almost immediately, the roommates began experiencing odd events, such as drawers being left open and the power being turned off randomly from the basement. When they'd investigate, they would hear odd noises coming from downstairs. They began to have suspicions that the home was haunted. But 1 month later, they realized the truth. One of the roommates discovered a man standing in the basement who claimed his name was Jeremy before leaving abruptly. Police were called in and disturbingly after breaking open a door, found the man
and not a ghost. I'm fine with that.
Room down there. He had everything from a TV to clothes and several photos, and clearly had been living there for several years. Kind of makes you wonder how familiar you actually are with your basement.
Well, hey, he was there first. Cheap jump scare. Not gonna work.
Number 5 is a former kidnap cell. In late October of 2017, some construction workers were performing a routine safety inspection of a building just outside of the city of Salzburg in northwestern Austria. However, they suddenly stumbled upon something truly disturbing. While measuring a wall, 2 of the crew members discovered a hidden staircase behind it, which led to a secret basement, one that had a truly creepy past. The building was a guest house called Cistern, which means starfish in English. As it turns out, it was run by Joseph Fritzl, a man who 10 years prior kept his own daughter captive in the basement. This hidden basement room was a horrific sight of where kidnapping victims were held against their will.
What?
Number 4 is a gravestone. Shortly after moving into a Bridgewater, Massachusetts home, 4-year criminal justice student Derek Kruk and his roommate made a startling discovery next to the hot water tanks in their basement. Laying flat and sunk into the concrete floor so far that it was flush with the ground, was a yellowed gravestone. After cleaning off the face of it, the men took a closer look and saw that the epitaph read that the marker belonged to Jabez Hardin, a War of 1812 veteran who was born in 1796 and died in 1879. Upon doing some research, it turns out that grave sites and gravestones were both very expensive in the 1800s, so it was often much cheaper to simply bury a loved one's body in the basement.
I mean,
Number 3 are satanic markings.
Part of history,
On August 26, 2015, Vanessa Ballesterieri, better known by her username Bushi992, posted a number of pictures on Imgur of her new house, specifically the alarming images of her new basement and attic. Both of these places contain some scary things left behind by the builder's previous tenants. Apparently, the former occupants of the home practiced some type of demon and devil worship, as she discovered several markings, including symbols and creepy phrases painted on beams and on the walls in sublevels. On one crossbeam in the basement, the words, "For I am the earth, and within me the devil burns," was written in black ink. However, the most disturbing find was in a secret room which contained what appeared to be a summoning circle to call forth the devil.
Damn, son.
Number 2 is 1,200 skeletal remains.
Oh, hell no.
In December of 1997, construction worker Jim Field was restoring a 4-story Georgian house at 36 Craven Street in London, England. A home that one of America's founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin, lived in between 1757 and 1776. Digging in the basement, Field discovered 1,200 different pieces of skeletal remains buried. After an investigation, it was established that the bones belonged to between 10 and 15 different bodies. It turns out Franklin's friend and fellow tenant William Hewson was running an anatomy school out of the building's basement, something that was frowned on back in the 1700s. The remains are believed to have been obtained through grave robbing and were buried under the residence to hide the evidence.
Let those people sleep. Let those people sleep. Oh, they gave him rest in peace. He's gonna dig them up.
After realizing she desperately needed to repair the foundation of her 100-year home, Jefferson, Wisconsin resident Helen Weissensel called on a man with a backhoe to dig out her basement in 2003. But shockingly, when only the second scoop of earth was dumped out, a human skull rolled out with it. Adding to the homeowner's horror was that it was only the first of several bodies to be uncovered down there. An investigation discovered that the skull belonged to a man who died around the year 1840. He had been buried in the community's first ever cemetery, which, as it turned out, was under the home. More than just a few bodies were buried there, including a child and several adults. That's right. If you're currently living in an old home, you may want to do some research as to what lies beneath. And that's it. If you enjoyed this
that was
video,
definitely Photoshop.
More like it in the
Ain't no way in hell this we're gonna put a dish on that.
Subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications for my new uploads. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Bye. Alright. Woo! Alright, so that was creepy, and that's why I watched it in the morning. Well, in the daylight, I should say. Ooh. Excuse me. Alright, so what have we learned? Don't move into old houses. Or, when you're walking through the house with the realtor, you let them know, I want to check the basement and I want to check the attic. I'm not buying this house until you let me check the basement and the attic, and we're going to do a thorough search. Come on now. I'd be pissed off if I found a goddamn graveyard in my house. Like, come on now, seriously, do your math, people. Do your math. Upstairs, downstairs, check. All right. That's not math. That's a checklist. Sorry, my brain's not working right now. I got a whole bunch of stuff to do. But anywho, thank you for stopping by the channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Yeah, we out, y'all.